International 314. Welcome to International 314. This is a historic day 30 years after the fall of the Berlin Wall. I think there are a lot of misconceptions for those who've grown up outside of Germany, just in terms of how exactly this great event took place and what it's meant afterwards for those who live in the now united Germany. For a lot of Americans especially, I think there's been a false, if not oversimplified narrative that one simple phrase by an American president, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall," that these magic words by Ronald Reagan, as though saying "open sesame," brought down the Berlin Wall. But anyone who really has a more nuanced or solid idea of what was happening on the ground know that the biggest push came internally. There were a lot of changes happening within the Soviet Union as well as within the East German government, and the push for reforms from the population of the former East Germany, the German Democratic Republic, cannot be understated. There had become protests which, in a security state that was totalitarian, in a state that had far more secret police, 4 times as many secret police as Nazi Germany under the Gestapo had, for just 1/4 the size of the land. The courage that it took to mount protests of any kind really can't be understated. This is really, I think, something that isn't looked at, and for the people who were inhabitants, citizens of the former East Germany, I don't think that they quite even had a sense of the gravity of what was about to happen. There had been a long push for reforms within the former East Germany just to make systematic changes within the East German government. There had also been big pushes for reforms that would allow for free travel outside of the Eastern Bloc. And eventually, the East German government acquiesced to this travel ban, or at least the lifting of it. But when it happened, it was like a floodgate. No one was prepared for what happened afterwards, which ultimately led toward the nullification of the internal German boundary and the elimination of the Berlin Wall. Now, in terms of the follow-up, well, what does this mean today? One can still notice differences between the former East Germany and the former West Germany. It could be anything as simple as the color of the lights. One can look at infrastructure. When the former East Germany ceased to be, the new unified federal government took over telephone systems, telephone networks that had not been updated or properly maintained since before the end of the Second World War. Toward this end, the entire phone system was removed by the new federal government, or the united federal government, and that was replaced with fiber optic cables, giving the former East Germany one of the most sophisticated landline networks in all of the world. In other sides, it's been perhaps not such a stunning victory. 85 cents on the dollar is roughly what the average German worker or East German worker makes in comparison to those in the former West Germany. Now, that is a significant uptick from the 75% that it had been about a decade ago, but it obviously indicates that there is still much to do. And for older people, I think there still is a sense of 2 different countries trying to get along. But for anyone under the age of 30, they know nothing other than a united Germany. And while they've definitely heard stories from their parents, they don't have any firsthand experience with two separated countries. As time goes on, I think that there is definitely more of a united sense of one people. Of course, there are always going to be separations and stratifications within any country. But certainly as time goes on, I think the effects of this separation become less apparent. On this day, though, it's worth thinking about what has happened in the past and also looking toward the future. 10 years from now, it will be 40 years after the fall of the wall. And it was only 40 years that the former East Germany existed in the first place. Thanks for checking in today to listen to a little bit about the significance of this day. And as always, I look forward to hearing from you in the comment section, and subscriptions are always greatly appreciated. Thank you for checking in with International 314.